everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm just gonna get straight into it. Today I will be speaking about Daisy de Melker. She is the most popular person to have ever poisoned anybody in South Africa, and she is the first female serial killer to ever be convicted in South Africa and the second woman to ever be hung in South Africa. So before I get into it, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also share the video. Thank you so much for being here one more time. Let's get into the video. Daisy was born Daisy Louisa Hancorn Smith, and she was born in Seven Fountains near Grahamstown. She was one of 11 children, meaning that not a lot of attention was put on her. So even if she did have like an evil or somewhat, unusual personality or traits, they wouldn't have been realized because not much attention was on her because there were so many children. So at the age of 12, she left South Africa to go to Bulawayo in Zimbabwe to be with her dad and two brothers. But then another theory for why Daisy actually left South Africa was that her mother had actually abandoned them, and that she moved to PE and was getting married to another man. But anyway, at 13 years old, she came back to South Africa and went to a boarding school in Cape Town. It's called the Good Hope Seminary School, until she was 17, after which she returned to Zimbabwe, but not for a very long time. And in 1903, she actually came back to South Africa and enrolled at a nursing school called Berea Nursing Home in Durban, where she obviously learned her skills and knowledge on medication and how different substances affect the human body. Daisy's first fiance, who was a man from Zimbabwe, had actually passed away on the day that they were supposed to get married, and he had passed away from black fever, which is a malaria related illness. So after he passed away, he actually left Daisy 100 pounds because she was the fiance. So yeah, she had an inheritance from him. In 1909, Daisy, this was 18 months after the fiance had passed away, Daisy got married to a man called William Alfred Cowell, who was a plumber living in Johannesburg. She was 23 at the time, and Mr. William was 36 at the time, and they lived together at Turffontien in Johannesburg, and they had 5 children. Now, from those 5 children, only one survived. There was twins who died in infancy. There was the third child, died from an abscess in the liver. So the abscess in the liver has the following symptoms. So this is kind of important. So the abscess, there's abdominal pain, vomiting, nausea, strange colored stools, and unexplained weight loss. And then the fourth child suffered from convulsions and bowel trouble, and they actually died at 15 months. The fourth child died at 15 months. So the only child that survived, his name was Rhodes, and he was born in June 1911. So there was no evidence that Daisy had actually killed her children, but some sources say that there were signs of mental illness or mental issues with Daisy, like from the time that she had children. So by her 30th birthday, Daisy had lost 4 children and a fiance. So William is a plumber, like I think I already mentioned, and on 11th of January 1923, he has some aches and pains, and Daisy actually prepares some Epsom salts for him, and after drinking them, he becomes violently ill. So a doctor is called, and the doctor gives him a bromide mixture, but he doesn't become any better. He becomes worse. Daisy calls the neighbors for help because he's really going downhill. A second doctor comes, and William is actually in a horrible state. He's turning blue in the face. He doesn't want to be touched. He is foaming in the mouth, and he actually passes away, and the doctor is like, no, he suspects that it's strychnine poisoning and refused to sign the death certificate. So anyway, the cause of death was determined to be a chronic nephritis and cerebral hemorrhage, which basically means chronic kidney disease and a bleeding of the brain. So Daisy inherits 1,795 pounds from Williams's death. Okay, so at 36 years old, 3 years to the day that William actually passed away, Daisy married Robert Sprout, who was actually 10 years her senior and also a plumber. In October 1927, Robert actually becomes very ill. He's in great agony. He has muscle spasms that are so painful, apparently just like William had. But he recovers. He becomes better. But a few weeks later, after drinking a beer that Daisy had given him, he has another episode. He falls violently ill, and this time he dies on November 6th, 1927. So his cause of death was determined to be arteriosclerosis and cerebral hemorrhage. No autopsy was performed on him. Daisy inherited 4,000 pounds and a further 560 pounds from his pension fund. So get this, the two husbands, William and Robert, were both buried side by side at the same cemetery. So on the 21st of January 1931, Daisy marries again. She gets married to a widower called Sidney Clarence de Melker, and who was also a plumber, surprise surprise, and he was also a South African rugby player, a noted South African rugby player. So at this time, Rhodes was 19 years old, and he was of the knowledge that when he turned 21, he was gonna get his father's share of his inheritance. Yes. So at 21, he was supposed to get his monies, you know what I mean? So late February 1932, Daisy travels to Turffontien to go buy arsenic. Arsenic is another type of poison. But when she buys the arsenic, she uses her former surname, Sprout, and not her current surname, de Melker. So her explanation was that she was going to use the poison to kill a sick cat. On Wednesday, 2nd of March 1932. 1932 is the year of Daisy's demise. This is when everything just went left for her. So anyway, on Wednesday, the 22nd of March, Rhodes, Daisy's son, gets violently ill while he's at work, and he gets ill after drinking coffee that his mom had prepared for him. Not only does Rhodes get sick, a co-worker of his who had actually drank a little bit of his coffee also gets sick, but the co-worker luckily survives. Rhodes, on the other hand, he actually passes away on a Saturday midday, and his poem actually shows the cause of death to be cerebral malaria, and he was actually buried the following day. So Daisy receives £100 from Rhodes's life insurance. After Rhodes passes away, one of Robert, who's Daisy's second husband, one of Robert's brothers gets very suspicious. Like, there was suspicion all the time, but it's like, okay, now it's his son. Now people are like, no man, something ain't right. And actually the suspicions are reported to the police, and on 15 April 1932, the police obtained a court order to exhume the bodies of William, Robert, and Rhodes. Just to check like what's up, because wow, 3 men, 1 woman. Yeah. Anyway, Rhodes's body was found in a very good preservation state, because arsenic actually is good at, you know, preserving, I guess, a dead body. But like, it's a characteristic to show that yes, there's arsenic in this body. The good state that it was found in is proof that there was actually arsenic in it. And there was also arsenic in his viscera, backbone, and in his hair. Strychnine was found in Robert and Williams's bodies, and actually it was found on the vertebrae, and both men's bones had actually turned pink to show that they had taken in pink strychnine. And also with Rhodes's co-worker, there were traces of arsenic that were found in his fingernails and in his hair. So Daisy was arrested and charged a week later for the murder of all three men, and the chemist who actually sold her the arsenic that killed Rhodes had actually come forward after seeing her on a newspaper, considering the fact that she said she was Daisy Sprout while she was actually Daisy the Melker. So that was like suspicious. So her trial began on the 17th of October 1932, and it lasted 30 days, and it was held at the Johannesburg High Court. It had so much attention. Everybody wanted to be there. People stood in long lines for hours. People even sold seats, like their seats inside the court. They sold those seats because people were willing to pay money to be inside. So since the public opinion weighed so much against Daisy, she decided not to go with a peer jury, I guess. And she decided she wanted to be tried by the judge and two assessors. So there were 60 witnesses that were called from the Crown in the court, and less than half of that number was called for the defense's side. So the judge summed up that the state didn't have enough evidence to prove that William and Robert had actually died from poisoning. And on the third count of Rhodes, the judge believed that it was actually arsenic that killed Rhodes, and he did believe that actually Daisy is the one who poisoned her own son, especially considering that the judge believed that Daisy is the one who put the arsenic in the coffee first of all, and there were actually traces of arsenic in the coffee flask that were found. So she was found guilty of killing Rhodes and was sentenced to death by hanging. So there are a couple of theories that people or that have been made as to why she would want her son dead. One is she simply didn't like him. She felt like he was ungrateful for the soft life that she had offered him. She wasn't very grateful to her for the life that he had. Two, for the money, because remember, Rhodes believed that he had money coming his way at the age of 21. So it's either Daisy wanted that money, or she had already spent that money somehow and didn't want Rhodes to find out. Three was that she was taking out a witness, so maybe she was scared that at some point Rhodes would just wake up and be like, why are all your husbands dying? Like, why are all your husbands just one by one? So before he actually caught on, maybe Daisy wanted to take him out, So anyway, Daisy was actually hung on the 30th of December 1932. So that is Daisy the Melker, a very famous female serial killer here in South Africa. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing her story and finding out who Daisy the Melker is. I think she is the most well known, so some people might have already have heard of her name, but I hope you guys found this interesting and that it was informative. I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also to share the video. Thank you so much for being with me and rocking with me. Until next time.